I'm 28 years old, and at the time this happened, I worked as a junior physical therapist at a small clinic just outside the city. I'm not especially brave or paranoid, just routine-oriented. I like schedules, familiar routes, predictable days. Soccer had always been my way of decompressing. Twice a week, I played in a casual evening league at a public sports complex about 20 minutes from my apartment. Nothing competitive. Mostly guys in their 20s and 30s trying to stay in shape after work. This happened in early autumn, when the air starts to cool, but the days are still long enough for sunset practices. It was a Tuesday night game, kickoff at 8:30 p.m. I remember because Tuesdays were always exhausting at the clinic, and I almost skipped that night, but I didn't. I packed my bag, kissed my girlfriend goodbye, and told her I'd be home by The complex itself was basic. 3 turf fields, tall chain-link fences, flickering floodlights, and a small parking lot surrounded by trees and a bike path. Nothing isolated, but not exactly busy either, especially on weekdays. That night felt unremarkable. I wasn't anxious or distracted. I wasn't thinking about danger. I was thinking about sore calves, the patient who cancelled last minute, and whether we'd grab beers after the game. If I'd known what would happen, I wouldn't have gone. But that's the thing. Nothing ever feels wrong at the start. I got to the complex around 7:50 p.m., early as usual. I like warming up slowly, stretching, light jogging, headphones in. The parking lot had maybe 10 cars scattered around, mostly other players. I parked under one of the dim lights and grabbed my bag from the trunk. The field smelled like rubber pellets and damp grass. Somewhere nearby, a whistle blew from another game. I nodded to a couple of guys I recognized and started stretching near the sideline. One of my teammates, Lucas, jogged over complaining about his knee brace slipping again. We laughed. It was normal, easy. As more players arrived, the field filled with voices. Casual trash talk, cleats tapping against concrete, the hollow thud of balls being kicked around. The floodlights buzzed faintly overhead. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt in a tired way, like the day was finally ending. We played 2 short matches that night. I subbed out once, drank from my water bottle, checked my phone. No missed calls, no messages. Everything felt exactly as it should. Around 9:45 p.m., the games wrapped up. A few guys headed straight to their cars. Others lingered, talking near the benches. I sat down to retie my shoes, scrolling through my phone again. That's when I first noticed someone standing near the fence on the far side of the field. He wasn't in soccer gear, no bag, no phone, just standing there, hands in the pockets of a dark hoodie, watching. At first I assumed he was waiting for someone. Parents, friends, joggers, people pass through all the time. I went back to tying my shoes. When I looked up again a few minutes later, he was still there, same spot, same posture. That's when the unease started, not fear exactly, just awareness. He hadn't moved, hadn't checked a phone, hadn't reacted to anything on the field. He was watching us, specifically the players leaving one by one. I stood up and slung my bag over my shoulder. As I walked toward the gate, I glanced back. Our eyes met briefly. He looked away immediately, but not in a casual way, more like he'd been caught doing something. "Hey," Lucas said behind me, "you coming for beers?" "Not tonight," I replied. "I'm wiped." He clapped my shoulder and headed off with a few others. I waited a moment before exiting, partly to avoid the awkwardness of passing the guy alone. When I finally stepped out, he had shifted slightly closer to the gate, pretending to stretch one leg. I told myself I was reading too much into it. People act weird all the time. Still, I adjusted my grip on my bag and walked toward the parking lot. The path was lit, but the edges dissolved into shadow. My car was parked near the far end. As I unlocked it, I heard footsteps behind me, slow, unhurried. I turned around. It was him. He stopped about 15 feet away, pretending to check the ground like he'd dropped something. The timing was too perfect. "You play here?" he asked suddenly. His voice was calm, too calm. "Yeah," I said, unlocking my door. "Just finished." He nodded. "Every week?" I hesitated. "Most weeks." "Cool," he said, smiling faintly. "Good exercise." I got into my car without responding. As I pulled out of the lot, I checked the mirror. He stood there, watching until I turned the corner. I thought that would be the end of it. About 5 minutes into my drive, I noticed a pair of headlights behind me, close, matching my turns. I told myself it was coincidence. This was a straight route out of the complex. Then I changed lanes. The car behind me did too. I slowed slightly, so did they. My heart rate picked up. I made a right turn into a residential street I never take. The headlights followed. I didn't want to panic. I didn't want to believe it. But my hands were tight on the wheel, palms damp. I glanced at the rearview mirror and caught a glimpse of the driver, a dark hoodie, hood up. I drove past my apartment complex deliberately, then made another random turn. Still there. At this point, my breathing was shallow. I considered calling someone, but didn't want to sound stupid if I was wrong. So I drove toward a gas station up ahead, somewhere public. The car stayed with me until I turned into the station, then kept going. I sat there for a moment, engine running, trying to calm down. I bought a bottle of water, splashed some on my face in the bathroom, and told myself it was nothing. When I finally drove home, I checked every mirror constantly. I parked under the brightest light I could find and hurried inside, locking the door behind me. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside made my chest tighten. I checked the locks twice, then 3 times. The next morning, I convinced myself I was overreacting, until Thursday. Thursday night, same field, same time. I almost didn't go, but part of me refused to let fear dictate my life. I arrived later than usual, hoping to blend in. The game started quickly, and for a while I forgot everything. Running helped. Near the end of the second match, I subbed out and sat on the bench, breathing hard. That's when I saw him again, standing near the same fence. This time he was closer, watching me. My stomach dropped. I grabbed Lucas. "Do you see that guy by the fence?" He glanced over. "Yeah. Why?" "He followed me last time," I said quietly. Lucas frowned. "You serious?" Before he could say anything else, the guy started walking toward us. Slow, direct. He stopped a few feet away. Up close, I noticed details I hadn't before. The stubble, the dark circles under his eyes, the way his hands flexed slightly, like he was holding something invisible. "You didn't answer my question the other night," he said. I stood up. "I don't want to talk." His smile twitched. "I just like watching the games." "Back off," Lucas said. The guy's eyes never left mine. "You park far away." My chest felt hollow. "Leave me alone." For a moment, I thought he might lunge. Instead, he stepped back, hands raised slightly. "Relax." Security lights flicked on nearby, and voices carried across the field. The guy turned and walked away, disappearing into the darkness beyond the fence. I didn't stay. I didn't shower. I grabbed my bag and left with Lucas walking me to my car. I drove straight to the police station. They took my statement, nodded, wrote notes, told me they'd keep an eye out. Nothing ever came of it. I stopped playing soccer after that. Made excuses, pulled a muscle, busy at work. Eventually, I just quit the league entirely. For weeks, I checked behind me constantly. Every car felt suspicious. Every hooded figure made my stomach clench. I installed extra locks, motion lights. I changed my routine. The police never followed up. No reports matched my description. No cameras caught anything useful. Life slowly returned to normal, but the ease never fully came back. The field, something I loved, now felt contaminated, like it belonged to him. My girlfriend said I seemed distant, tired. She was right. I tried to forget. It's been over a year now. Last month, I drove past that sports complex by accident. The fields were lit, players running, laughing. For a split second, I considered pulling in. Then I noticed someone standing near the fence, hands in pockets, head tilted slightly, watching. I didn't stop to see if it was him. I just kept driving.